ambassador to Ireland, was very upfront today in her comments in relation to the Kinahans. Could you ever envisage doing business with Daniel Kinahan again in the future?
No, again, unless something obviously dramatically changes, which I can't foresee, I will not do business with Kinahan based on these assertions by the U.S., by my government. I mean, I don't believe that somebody who is implicated in drug trafficking should be involved in boxing, and particularly shouldn't be involved with my company Top Rank in any capacity.
Well, first you have to understand our situation at Top Rank. We have been working all year, the past year, with MTK, and because of our connection with MTK, we've been able to get a whole host of events from MTK and televise them in the United States on ESPN Plus, which is now 8 million subscribers. So that's been a big success. And our relationship with MTK has been tremendous, and particularly with Dan, who was the original founder of MTK, and now is still an advisor to them, and is in effect our advisor regarding the Mideast. He's living in the Mideast, and he has very, very good connections. And so we, early on, ceded to Dan the authority to explore opportunities. We have great confidence in Kinahan. We think he's very, very, very honest, very astute. He has great connections.
What's good, family? Shout out to my doggy, Devil Dog 83, for coming through with the most boostful coin right now. So we just heard there from your mans, Bob Arum, and it's looking bad at this particular point in time for Team Fury. So, Bob Arum says, out and out, he is no longer working with El Trapahan, aka Daniel Kinahan. You've seen the title of my video. My video states clearly, Frank Warren threatens and/or splits from Team Tyson Fury. And really, realistically, Tyson Fury himself. How and why do we know this, or how and why? Let me give you the fleshings out of this situation, because a lot of it's gone through. Most of these mainstream bonehead dons, or the YouTuber cats, most of the dopey YouTuber cats, they dopey, 100%. They ain't got the inside scoop. Now, I've reached out to a number of top rank representatives and or executives, and they've basically told me, listen, Bob Arum ain't telling no lies. Yeah? Bob Arum's been having very serious and deep conversations with Tyson Fury. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Is this likely to affect the Wembley fight in 2 weeks? No. Listen, what we know about life is coin comes first. Coin comes long before morals. So, no matter what happens in the future, in the immediate future, i.e. next 2 weeks, nothing's going to change, essentially. But what I have heard, Bob Arum has had a very frank conversation with Tyson Fury. And it's quite interesting, to be quite honest with you, because it was only a week ago, Bob Arum was saying, oh, apples and pears, I love Kinahan, he's never had no charges, all this kind of stuff. So to see the 180, it's interesting, but it's not actually shocking, because the way the corporate world works, when you've got investors or you've got a public image, today in the cancel culture, you just can't do it. Even though, to be honest with you, boxing is one of them ones, to be fair. If there's any industry you can get away with things, it's boxing. Although Tyson Fury made some comments in the past, and he got half cancelled. So even in boxing, it's the world today. The world today is, you are fixing to get cancelled. Especially when you got all the suicide things and you got the narco. Obviously, Kinahan's alleged to be moving substances and whatnot, and as a representing a global company or a big organization, you just can't affiliate with certain individuals at any level. It kills your brand. Think about it as well. Let me give you a better example of what I'm talking about here. Bob Arum works with ESPN. Do you understand? That's the problem here. It's not like it was in the 80s where, well, bottom line is it's 2022 and these Rainbow Dons and whatever else, the cancelled Dons, they ain't playing no games. And it's all well and good. If you're putting on private shows, for example, if Bob Arum was solely working with MTK's infrastructure, it wouldn't be a problem. But Bob Arum is working with ESPN. I'm not sure who owns ESPN, but it might even be Disney. Either way, ESPN is some big buffalo thing. Some big corporate buffalo. And guess what today? In today's world, big corporate buffaloes, they ain't dealing with this at any level. They don't care about Tyson Fury. They don't care about Bob Arum. They'll cut you off. Look at Dave Chappelle or whoever. They'll cut you off quick. There is no one who's untouchable today. There just isn't. There's no entity untouchable. Unless you're Cabal, the only entity who so far isn't touchable is Cabal. That's it. Anyone else get chopped. So it's funny, I've seen people saying, "Oh, YB, Tyson Fury is too big. Oh, they can't do anything." You're joking. Look at Will Smith. Will Smith's leagues above Tyson Fury. Who else you got? Well, pick who you want. There's a whole bag of people. And these individuals, Dave Chappelle and Will Smith, they weren't involved in alleged murders or alleged massive shipping chemicals or narcotics around the world. And they still got chopped. So imagine, do you think a S&P 500 or a Fortune 500 company like ESPN or Disney or whoever owns ESPN can afford to be linked to Bob Arum, who, don't forget, and the reason Bob Arum's come out so strongly the reason Bob Arum came out in the last 24 hours so strongly was because life's a big pyramid, yeah? Bob Arum came out because he got touched himself. ESPN reached out to Bob Arum and said, "Listen, Bob, there's clips of you singing the praises of your man's Kinahan. Yeah? You best tighten up quick. You best get your narrative out there quick. Yeah? You best flip the script quick. Otherwise, all that coin, because how a lot of these people say, "Oh, YB, there's no way that can happen. Bob Arum's got a contract." These contracts, they all have built-in things and clauses in there. Yeah? And if anything that brings the overall organisation into disrepute, i.e. Top Rank backing some alleged narco-trafficante, you get cut straight away and you get fined as well. ESPN, if Bob Arum had doubled down backing Kinahan, he'd have been cut and fined on the way out. Yeah? As ESPN kicked his backside out the door. So he had to come out ASAP. Super sharp Bob Arum had to come out on his P's and Q's. Getting the party, you know what I mean? Getting the party lines back in order. Getting the narrative back in order. He ain't playing no games. Because we know Bob Arum, he loves money. And even though, YB, Tyson Fury is too big and there's no way Bob can cut Tyson Fury. Listen, Bob knows. Tyson Fury is big, yeah, but ESPN's bigger. From Bob Arum's point of view, Bob Arum can survive without Tyson Fury. Bob Arum can't survive without ESPN. And it's simple as that. No one, in this day and age, given Bob Arum's recent or earlier comments about how much he loves Kinahan, they're just, from what I'm hearing, that ESPN ain't happy and they're not letting it slide. And that's why Bob Arum's had to come out today and go on a mad one. No, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Now, behind closed doors, what I've heard is that on that note, Bob Arum has reached out to Tyson Fury and had a very frank conversation and has explained to Tyson Fury, "Listen, Tyson, I'm being pressured by ESPN." Because don't forget as well, people, a lot of you man don't know, Tyson Fury is directly managed, yeah? You know how, let's think of some big managers in the game. I'm not sure, is Al Heyman a manager? I'm not sure, but either way, there's some big, MTK, yeah, is a management company. They manage a whole bunch of fighters. Jack Casserole, Josh Taylor, Tyson Fury. Now, a few years ago, Daniel Kinahan actually removed himself from MTK, but he came back. For example, in the last year or two, It was all over the newspapers. AJ and Tyson Fury were praising Kinahan, saying, "Oh, Kinahan got the deal done between us. He's the number one man in boxing. He can make it happen. He's the miracle man." That's how real this is, people. That's how involved he was. So, when people talk about MTK, they're talking. It's not MTK. Isn't almost like a brand that Kinahan's given to kind of half distance himself from the headlines. But in reality, a manager isn't a company. A manager is people, and the man who manages Tyson Fury's career is Daniel. Daniel's the one who, obviously not directly, but Daniel isn't doing the day-to-day management, but as far as doing the deals, it's Kinahan. Same as Josh Taylor. All them ones there, it's Kinahan. He doing it. So that's why Bob Arum today, in the last 24 hours, had to get on the phone and tell Tyson Fury, "Listen, Tyson, I'm being pressed by ESPN. And bottom line is, none of us are going to make any money. If I get cut by ESPN, none of us are going to make no money. With Dan or not." So, Bob Arum told Tyson Fury, "Listen, you got a decision to make. Because my decision's clear, yeah? Bob Arum's decision is super clear. He's sticking with ESPN, yeah? He can't afford to say, oh, F ESPN and ESPN, I'm going with Tyson Fury and Dan. They can't afford that. His whole legacy will be, well, not whole legacy, but his whole infrastructure is shot at that particular point in time. He will become a pariah. Because don't forget as well, people, it's a small family in as much as Showtime, Sky. I'm telling you now, Showtime, Sky, ESPN. None of them, man. Let's say, for example, Bob Arum decided to double down with Dan and Tyson Fury. You can forget about any other cross-promotional fights. Because there's no one. Do you think Sky wants to be dealing with a narco-trafficante? No. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about this holistically. It's all well and good saying, oh, well, Bob Arum's going to... No, YB. Bob Arum wouldn't say anything to Tyson Fury. Bob Arum wouldn't give Tyson Fury no ultimatums. Wait a minute. If Bob Arum doubled down with Tyson Fury, which he hasn't done, that's why you've heard the comment saying, we'll never work with Tyson Fury, or we'll never work with Daniel Kinahan, which is Tyson Fury's manager, ever again. Which shows you the choices made, which wasn't obvious. I could have told you the choice he was going to make. Because if Bob Arum had decided not to work, or if Bob Arum had decided to work with Kinahan again, he can forget ESPN, but he can also forget anyone else. He can forget about working with Showtime. He can forget about putting on cross-promotional fights between, like for example, sometimes the AJ fight versus Fury. That fight could happen. But I'll tell you how it wouldn't happen. If Bob Arum had doubled down and essentially affiliated himself with Kinahan, which he had been doing. Don't forget that. We're not speculating here. Categorically, up until today, Top Rank was affiliated with Kinahan. Simple as that. I think even ESPN has put on MTK shows before on some of their smaller programming. That's as simple as that. So Bob Arum could have continued that and said, listen, I'm with Dan. But at which point, it would have been all small scale. Top Rank would have had to make their own little promotion, make their own little TV station and whatever else. That would have been it. And Top Rank would never put on a kind of unification fight again, cross network. Wouldn't happen. Because at no level is Sky, Showtime, anyone going to work with a narco. Not going to happen. So it's clear, it's really simple maths why Bob Arum has done what he's done. Sold out, and that's the thing. There were, from what I've heard, there weren't no conversations. It wasn't a case of, oh well, Dan, can you sort this out? Top Rank or Bob Arum didn't even tell Dan what he was going to say. Bob Arum was pressed. ESPN told him, listen, Bob, this is real simple. You need to come out now, within the next hour, and make it clear what your position is. Otherwise, you're getting chopped. Because we ain't taking this risk. Do you think ESPN and their stock price can sit there and wait for Bob Arum to try and work things out with Dan? Because normally how things would be, ESPN would complain to Top Rank, and Bob Arum would say, listen, Tyson Fury's a big fighter. Can you give me a week and let's see if maybe Dan can sort some of these things out? That's not what. It wasn't even a bit like that. ESPN told Bob, you better sort this ASAP. And Bob Arum didn't even reach out to Dan, because, for example, there is an argument. People could say, but he hasn't been charged, which he hasn't. Kinahan still hasn't been charged with anything, people. Yeah? These are still just essentially rumours. So Bob Arum, if ESPN hadn't have pressed Bob Arum so hard, Bob Arum would have been within his right to say, wait a minute, he hasn't been charged. Let's give my friend, who I've been singing praises about, some time to respond or whatever else. Because I remember when the BBC documentary came out. I know it's a bit different than a federal kind of warning or whatever. But still, when that came out, Kinahan came out and replied and whatever else. And that kind of brushed things over. I remember, in fact, at that particular point in time, people like Bob Arum were put under pressure for saying, why are you working? We've all seen, the journalist was saying, Bob Arum, we've all seen a recent documentary making claims, why are you still working with a narco trafficante? And that's when Bob Arum came out and said, oh, I love him, he's never done anything. So this could have been, bear in mind there's been no charges, this could have been one of them ones. Bob Arum could have said, if Bob Arum wasn't so pressed, he could have come out and said, wait a minute people, he hasn't been charged and he's still my friend and whatever else. But that shows you the degree to which the executive level, the executive branch, came down and pressed Bob Arum so hard, I'm hearing he nearly had a heart attack. He rolled over. They pressed him that hard. Yeah? No conversations, no anything else, no debate, you best get this done now. You get, because think of it, from ESPN's point of view, they ain't gonna take no risk. Boxing's small fry to them. They'll come out and say, listen, I'm telling you now, from what I heard, if Bob Arum hadn't come out within the last 24, if Bob Arum hadn't come out within 24 hours, yeah, they'd have just cut him dead and said, listen, we've decided to separate ourselves and shut down the ESPN top-ranked boxing thing. It would have been as simple as that. Shakur versus Valdez is off and we'll see you later. That's how things are moving in 2022. People ain't taking this kind of corporate risk. That's what they're not doing. They would have been cut straight dead. Yeah? Because not being funny, this news, Bob Arum had responded within 12 hours. Do you think that's how things normally go? Especially when Bob Arum was claiming that how much of a friend he was with Kinahan. No. You know what I'm saying? Friends, things take, when you're dealing with relationships and extremely sensitive situations, these things normally take weeks. Normally you wait for about 2 weeks to get a statement from anyone, don't you? Let's be real now. Anyone close to the actual situation, very few people within 12 hours come out and completely trash the relationship they've got. Do you know what I'm saying? Normally, these things take time to play out. People want more information. People want to hear the other side, etc., etc. Bob weren't trying to hear none of that. The ESPN branch made it quite clear what time it was. Now, I've given you all that background to set the scene for what happened next, i.e. the conversation between Bob and Tyson. Bob told Tyson pretty much everything that I've told you just now and said to him, listen, I'm under it. In the next few hours I'm coming out and telling and selling Kinahan down the river. I don't want nothing to do with him. I can't have anything to do with him. Now, this puts me and you in a difficult situation, i.e. Bob and Tyson, because it does. Tyson Fury is managed by Kinahan. Tyson Fury himself, much like Bob up until today, was saying, oh no, Daniel's never done anything. I'll stick by Daniel. Now what is going to be interesting, we are going to see how much wicking ESPN's been doing. Because, bear in mind people, ESPN is putting on the fight of Fury versus White. Now, the same way, yes, Tyson Fury is a bit more detached. Tyson Fury has an agreement with Top Rank, which has an agreement with ESPN, but I'm not even sure how it works. I'm pretty sure Tyson Fury will have signed documents for the networking services from ESPN. So, for all we know, well, I reckon within the next few days or whatever, Tyson Fury himself, if he wants this show to continue, so actually, I think this show is in jeopardy to some extent. If Tyson Fury decides to double down, I don't believe there's no way, ESPN is going to broadcast. Normally, we see on the ring with Tyson Fury, MTK labels everywhere, and whatever else. Is ESPN going to want to broadcast a fight with a fighter who's doubling down with his narco trafficante manager. So don't be surprised, people, if in the next few days you hear Tyson Fury come out and sell Daniel down the river. So we're going to find out where the loyalties really lie. Because I do find it, now, to be fair to the fight happening, the fight, either way, the fight will probably happen. Why? ESPN might have just about enough plausible deniability to say, to distance themselves. Oh well, Tyson Fury doing his own thing, kind of thing. I don't know. No, in 2022, I'm not so sure. I won't be surprised if it gets chopped completely at this particular point in time. Although, again, I mean, look, for example, look at Showtime. Showtime had a fight on. It was Rolly Romero versus Tank Davis. That got cancelled. All that happened there was a female lied about Rolly Romero before his big pay-per-view show, and Showtime pulled the show because of allegations. This wasn't... Rolly Romero didn't have some federal State Department message put out there talking about $5 million reward or whatever. All Rolly Romero had against him was allegations on a bit of paper. Sorry, allegations on Instagram from some chick. I'm not even sure she went to the police. I think the people just saw it on the Instagram and started sharing it, and Showtime pulled the show. Now you've got Tyson Fury, who's managed. And to be fair, it is different. It's different when you've got the headline of your fight alleged to be involved in stuff. Tyson Fury himself hasn't been directly alleged, but the man who manages Tyson Fury is directly alleged to have potentially murdered people. So it's not that much of a stretch. And now, if this was 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, you'd say, well, it ain't going to make no difference. But in today's cancel culture and the sensitive public relations market all corporations are operating in, I don't know. And that's what makes me believe, from what I'm hearing as well, expect within the next few hours, within the next few days, sharpish, Fury going to come out and cut Kinahan off. And to be quite frank with you, if Kinahan is worth even half of his weight in gold as a manager, if any good manager in this situation would tell Fury, protect your own brand. That's management 101. Now, obviously, if it turns out Daniel Kinahan is like Jeffrey Benz, Dillian White's lawyer, then he'll just drag Tyson Fury down with him. Although Tyson Fury himself is quite nifty. As in, he's not stupid. He's not as stupid as Dillian White. So I'd like to think he'll know what to do. Although, there is another argument. Is Tyson Fury at any level involved? That must be stupid though. Why would a millionaire boxer be involved? But you just don't know in terms of the money laundering. Many boxers around Kinahan have been in. I mean, a few of them have been arrested for. I think a few of them have been arrested for money laundering already. Oops. Yeah. There's boxers around Kinahan who've been arrested for money laundering, and God knows what else. I think one of his friends, one of the mans who got shot. But either way, listen. So I'm just putting the feelers out there. Because if, I don't know, who knows? You just don't know, do you? So, put it this way. 24 hours ago, before this news came out, is the fight more likely to happen or less? Well, or is it the same? There's no way it's the same. This fight has only got more or less likely to happen. It's as simple as that. In my mind. Now, the best thing they can do, the best thing Tyson Fury can do right now, is come out and shut it all down. The same way Bob Arum has done. That way everyone's happy, apart from Dan. But Dan's about to spend the next 100 years buried underground in Florence ADX. So, who cares what he wants? You know what I'm saying? He should have thought about that before he started trying to come out here. And that's the problem. A lot of these cats, yeah, same as El Chapo. The reason El Chapo got caught, he wanted to be all in the video. Be grateful that you've made hundreds of millions of dollars profiteering off people's miseries, in the main. Yeah? And be grateful that you've made it. But these cats, they want to make the money and they want to be all in the video. My name's Daniel Kinahan. I'm a big boxing wig. Just sit down somewhere and be quiet. That's what you should have done. Now, like I said, now you're about to be in Florence ADX underground. Yeah? with Tyrone, no doubt. Tyrone enjoying some nice white British booty cheeks, 100% underground. Listen, you're gonna be underground where no one can hear your cries. That's what you're fixing to be, 100%. But anyway, listen, like I was saying, Bob Arum has told Tyson Fury, listen, you got a serious decision to make ASAP. I don't know who you need to speak to, I don't know what you need to do, but what you do need to do is get in the line quickly. Because from what I've heard, Bob Arum told Tyson Fury he's gonna do whatever he can, no matter what. Even if Tyson Fury does decide to double down with Kinahan, which in my opinion would be complete career suicide. Because like I said, if Tyson Fury comes out publicly and says he's doubling down with Narco Traficante, unless by magic, like Bob Arum said, Kinahan gets cleared of all charges in court, which even that's going to take months or years to work out. Unless that happens, Tyson Fury coming out saying he's doubling down and maintaining his management, who's going to touch him? Sky ain't going to want a Narco Traficante managed fighter. No one will touch him with a barge pole. He'll probably end up having to do exhibitions in Russia or China or whatever. That's what he'll be doing, 100%. So I don't see any other option, but like I said, Bob Arum told Tyson Fury, listen Tyson, you are your own man. I don't know how deep your connections go with Kinahan, so you've got a decision to make right now. You can pick to double down with him, or you can pick to do what I did, which was, obviously, as you heard, sold him out and told him, listen, we don't want nothing to do with you. You've been got by the government. Yeah? Bob Arum also said, no matter what happens, no matter what decision you make, he's going to do whatever he can to keep this fight on. Yeah? So what might happen is Tyson Fury might go quiet and say nothing on the subject until the fight's happened, and then he'll come out with a statement saying, I'm sticking with Kinahan. If Tyson Fury is silent on the subject until the fight's over, then you should expect Tyson to stick with Kinahan. If he comes out in the next few days, you know it's over for Kinahan. But then again, can Tyson Fury, in fight week, I wouldn't be surprised. If Tyson Fury hasn't made a statement by fight week, then all the media will have been told or banned. No questions on this subject to avoid it. Because like I said, there's no way ESPN or anyone else is gonna have Tyson Fury have clips of Tyson Fury talking about how his number one man is number one narco traficante, and then putting that on, aligning that with their brand. No way, not publicly. Yeah, look at all the banks. A load of banks have been caught doing money laundering for the cartels. It's fine until it's public. Do you understand? The minute it became public, all of a sudden, all the bank accounts are shut. Same as boxing. ESPN are fine doing deals with people managed by narco traficantes until it's public, and then it all gets shut down. Yeah, just like the boiler rooms in Titanic, you get shut down and lock off. And that Bob Arum told him, listen, you got a very serious decision to make, Tyson. You best make it, and make it quick as well. Make it as quick as Bob. Listen, what we know is Bob was quick, super quick. He wasn't doing no messing. Yeah, he came straight out and shut it down. Made it real clear, real quick. So, this potentially could be a very dynamic and interesting situation. What will Tyson Fury do? What will Tyson Fury's decision have on his future career? More immediately, what will Tyson Fury's decision have to do with this fight coming up? Will it stop the fight? These are all, I can't lie to you, I wasn't sure how the effect, but then when I started hearing things, started speaking to some of my top rank connects, they started filling me in on what's been going on. I thought, wow, it's actually deeper. It's a lot deeper than you'd think it'd be. And the way the way Bob Arum's come out and shut this down is scary. As rapid as it was. Yeah? Bob Arum didn't seek any legal advice. He just came out and just shut it all down. Made it quite clear. Now, the best thing to do, like I said, would be for Tyson Fury to shut it all down and maintain ties. But from what we're hearing now, Bob Arum may not. It won't be before. I don't. Who knows though? Who knows? Can Bob Arum cut off Tyson Fury before this fight? I don't think so. I don't think anyone will call for that. But you just don't know what these executives are saying. Who knows? If ESPN put the call in and say, listen, Now, honestly, I won't be surprised. In the next 3 days, I won't be surprised if ESPN give Tyson Fury an ultimatum. Tyson Fury, you either come out the same way as Bob did and shut it down, or the fight's off. I don't think that's an unreasonable probability right now, personally speaking. Knowing the corporate climate, I don't think it's unreasonable at all. Who wants their brand associated with essentially child killing, whatever's? No one wants that. So, I mean, to be fair, Tyson Fury and Team Fury, they've had a good run. They've had a good run of kind of riding this kind of thing. Yeah? But it seems to be the joyride's over now. And Bob Arum's made that quite clear. Yeah? The way he shut it down, the Rapido, and sold him out. It's quite clear. He's been touched. 100%. So, Bob Arum has split with Team Fury. But now the last question, listen, there's no question Bob Arum has split with Team Fury's management. Absolutely, that's a fact. What we don't know, and what the next week or two will show us, whether Bob Arum splits with Tyson Fury. But there's a lot of people saying, oh, there's no way it could happen. I'm telling you, right now it's 50-50 at best. At best, there's a 50% chance Bob Arum's going to cut Tyson Fury off clean, the same way he just did his manager. And if I'm telling you now, I'm calling it now, if Tyson Fury sticks by Kinahan, within the next 24 hours after that, you'll see Bob Arum cutting ties with Tyson Fury. Yeah? It'll be as simple as that. 100%. No doubt.